What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hardwood Convos podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Bierman alongside, as always, the boys Dawson Livingston and Hunter Rose, looking to give you guys at least 30 minutes worth of NBA talk here on this Thursday. At least this show will be posted on Thursday. We are currently recording Wednesday night, May 28th. It's almost June already. Good Lord. Which, I mean, for us NBA fans means the finals are coming up, but also means the season's almost over. So that's kind of a double-edged sword kind of thing right there. It looks like the Oklahoma City Thunder and Timberwolves game just wrapped up. I think the final, did it really end up being 124-94? So an absolute beatdown between the Thunder and the Timberwolves. Thunder clinched a spot in the NBA Finals, and we still have a battle out east. So first of all, like we do as always, Hunter and Dawson, how are we feeling? Whether it's basketball related or not basketball related, how are we feeling?
Sad. Real men are paying attention to the Florida Panthers going back to back now in the Stanley Cup Finals, and Christian Yelich had his first career walk-off, and it was a grand slam. That's what real men care about.
Whoa. You're telling me Yelich just had his first career walk-off?
Isn't he? I'm 30? Pretty sure. I'm like 80 to 90% certain that was his first career walk-off grand slam.
There's someone. So,
oh wow, and it was a grand slam.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, that's okay. That's a little more impressive. But I was gonna say, I work, for those that don't know, I work a part-time job covering the Cubs and Iowa Cubs specifically, and I help produce their radio broadcasts for their radio partners. And one of their guys, who's one of their top prospects, just hit his first walk-off. So I'm like, if Yelich is just hitting his first walk-off in the pros, and Matt Shaw of the Cubs just hit his first walk-off of the in his career, Yelich has got some catching up to do as a 30-year-old apparently. But you said it was a grand slam, so I won't judge. But
it was crazy.
Dawson, how are we feeling? Are you watching I know you like talking about on the Sports Nerds, your Frisky Panthers. Are you talking about the Florida Panthers or are you the Carolina Panthers?
That could apply to both, honestly, but no. Honestly, since Cleveland unfortunately got kicked out of the playoffs, been a lot of baseball. A lot of Cubs
kicked off. I think they were asked to leave.
No, it's whatever it was, whatever conspiracy you want to say. I've been watching a lot of baseball. Get bored throughout the day if I don't have anything going on. So Royals, Cubs, whatever's on the TV, I end up watching. But yeah, sad is how I'm doing right now.
Fair enough. We're going to talk a little bit about the obvious conference finals going on. One of them just wrapped up, like we mentioned earlier. Oklahoma City won 4-1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. 124-94 was the final of that game. Also, SGA, the MVP, the league MVP, his foul merchant name is starting to pick up a lot more steam than even before, because this is when even non-NBA fans start watching the NBA, and so some names get overblown for whatever reason. But yeah, outside of the one win, really, there were some competitive games, but outside of the one dominant win from the Minnesota Timberwolves, I felt like it just felt like it was Oklahoma City's series to win. Like I didn't have any doubt that Oklahoma City was gonna not win this. So what did you guys think about this overall series? And is there anything that NBA fans like us, who are actually passionate about the NBA and don't necessarily just watch it for the finals, is there any hope for us to have a fun finals at all? Or is Oklahoma City going to become one of the most dominant teams of all time? Because I know, Dawson, you'll probably mention it. They're on pace to have one of the most historic seasons of all time.
We are all doomed as NBA fans. This team is going to they're going to run the NBA for the next few years. Their oldest player on roster is Caruso, And Caruso doesn't even feel like he's that old. He's only 31. This is just not fair. I mean, you talk about Shea, he's what, 25, 26. Chet and J-Dub are from the 2022 draft class. It's only their third or fourth year. This team is just so well-rounded defensively, offensively. Shea's just an absolute bucket getter. We could say about the foul merchant stuff, but he does still get a lot of good quality looks from the mid-range area. But yeah, I personally don't think this finals is going more than 5 games. I'm just going to be real. So
Yeah, it'll be a great finals for Eastern Conference haters like myself. It'd be excellent. Nothing better. Nothing better. I was hoping for a nice Timberwolves upset until I realized what team could have made it out of the East, and then promptly decided we just need a guarantee that we have a Western Conference team win. But yeah, I'll be interested though, because I think the thing with Oklahoma City future-wise is just with how good their roster is. A lot of it has to do with them being, younger players still on their either rookie deals or first extension. So I'll be curious to see what things will look like for them salary-wise in a few years. I think the thing that's scary, though, is because of how many picks they have, they can still, trade away a guy on an expiring deal, throw in a pick, and just get, insane value back.
It's one of those where it's like, I know you guys have done your NBA 2K rebuilds over the years where you trade for all these picks, and then all of a sudden you have a really good team, but you still have all these picks, and you're just kind of like, what do I do here? Because I'm not sure what to do with all this stuff, which in real life is a really good problem to have because you can literally do whatever, and there's a good chance that you'll at least be somewhat competitive of a title contender for years to come. And let's be honest, SGA, Chet, Williams, all those guys, they've got a spot on the Thunder for years to come. And so even if the Thunder make certain moves, I think that they're going to be title contenders for years, for sure. And so it's going to be interesting if they, because you don't, when I did rebuilds in 2K and I got to that point, sometimes I would just trade those picks for second round picks just to make it somewhat more competitive. That's not how the real world works in the NBA. And as we know, Presti's not going to just give up anything for nothing.
dude, looking at their cap, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, Shea's their highest paid player at only $35 million for this season, 38 next season, 40 the year after. And then it's Hartenstein, Dort, and Isaiah Joe and Chet. I guess Aaron Wiggins too are the only guys making above 10 million. There are other good players that are making no money is Jalen Williams and someone we don't even talk about because he got drafted last year because he was hurt. Nikola Topic. He is going to be unbelievable when he comes over and he recovers from his injury. It's not fair that Oklahoma City has this many young assets, this many picks. Adam Silver needs to step in and disperse some of their picks to other teams that need it, i.e. Milwaukee Bucks or any other team.
It's unbelievable what the Thunder have been able to do. I, for one, said when this started getting put together in Oklahoma City that if they don't win a title, this would be one of the biggest failures in NBA history in terms of a era of a team or a franchise. Everybody knows, certain teams that were put together, the Brooklyn Nets with old KG and Paul Pierce, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash on the Lakers. You remember those singular teams or a year or so of those teams. But this is not just necessarily a team. It's the franchise as a whole. What they've done to get to this point. If they don't win a title, I always thought that this would be a huge, the biggest failure in NBA history because of the names and the talent that they've been able to acquire, along with the draft picks that haven't necessarily been used yet. And so, obviously, I'm not trying to get too ahead of the game, but this era of the Oklahoma City Thunder could be one of the smartest front offices in NBA history and what they've been able to do. And if they win the title this year, this is honestly just the beginning of where I think they could end up being. And it's unfortunate because we should be talking about the Seattle Supersonics being the next dynasty in the NBA, but here we are talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Doesn't it almost feel like the Thunder kind of like earned this though, with the stuff they had to go through with that Westbrook, Durant, Harden era, how it ended so abruptly because they just were really cheap at the time and didn't want to extend Harden.
They learned their lesson.
Yeah, I think the reason they didn't extend Harden was because of Kendrick Perkins, which I think is super funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it just kind of feels like Oklahoma City, like, they kind of deserve this run. I mean, they've done it the right way. They've drafted great players. They made smart trades. That Paul George trade, we're going to look back in 30 years at the overall haul, and we're going to be telling our kids about the absolute fleece that Sam Presti did on the Los Angeles Clippers. Not only getting all those picks that I still think there's 2 or 3 left that Oklahoma City's getting, but obviously landing the key prize in that trade, which is Shea. And Shea just won his first MVP this year. Who's to say he can't win multiple MVPs? He's that good of a player. But it's, I don't know. I don't want to say I feel happy for Thunder fans, but if any franchise has deserved it with the amount of trauma they've went through, I think they got to be at the top of the list.
Are you guys aware of the hypothetical Paul George NBA Finals?
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, if Indiana would to win tomorrow or at any point in the next 3 games to clinch a spot in the NBA Finals, both Oklahoma City and Indiana could credit getting rid of Paul George to why they are where they're at right now as a franchise. I think Oklahoma City's is more obvious in terms of the trade to Los Angeles with Paul George. But Indiana also was involved, which, funny enough, sent Paul George to Oklahoma City. Paul George, was traded in that trade for Oladipo and Sabonis, and so Sabonis later was turned into a trade for Halliburton. And then, everybody knows about the Los Angeles Clippers trade with Paul George. So landed future MVP or current MVP Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
If
go
I'm
ahead.
not mistaken, too, I think one of those Clipper picks was J-Dub. I'll look it up to fact check it, but
one of those picks became Jalen Williams and J-Dub.
Jesus.
Well, I guess J-Dub.
So they got their best player and their second best player and a bazillion first round picks for 5 years of Paul George with the Clippers, and the best they could do is go to the conference finals and get smoked. I don't know.
So does Philly trade Paul George?
Dude, I
To
think that
where?
means we get a Clippers 76ers finals next year. Book it. Book it right now. I wonder what those odds are.
Send to
Plus
Phoenix.
5 gajillion.
Would you be okay with your team paying Paul George for an entire year and having to watch Paul George basketball if it means your team gets to make the finals the next year? Not guaranteed to win the finals, just make the finals the following year.
Actually, that's a tough one.
Also got to keep in mind you're probably going up against at least a team that may or may not be a former team of Paul George's. So,
will Paul George be the new Ish Smith after these findings?
Ish Smith has a championship, though.
The next 5 years of his career will just be all on different teams. Because
is it Ish Smith or is it Shaquille O'Neal? Well, no, it can't be Shaquille O'Neal because Shaquille O'Neal at one point won title after title. Paul George hasn't even sniffed the finals.
He's just going to be the new journeyman.
All right. You ready for this perfect Paul George trade? Send Paul George with the 3rd pick to Phoenix for Kevin Durant. Who says no quicker? Who says no quicker?
I think KD says no
I
quicker.
think everyone just says yes because both those front offices just don't know what they're doing. Just be like, this is a good idea. Yes, I'm in.
They're like,
And then
wait,
if you're
what
Phoenix,
if we
then
just
you
give
just
each other the
immediately
next
trade
5
Booker.
years? God. And just like they'd be like, no, I don't think that's good enough for both of us. What if we just switched each other's first round picks for the next 10 years?
Oh, at least Philly has their picks.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Phoenix has no picks. All their picks are what, to Houston or Brooklyn?
Probably.
Something like that.
People need to learn when to not be dumb, when to think.
I don't know, man. NBA GMs are smarter than us, all right? That's why the Lakers, the first moment when free agency opened like 10 years ago, signed Timofey Mozgov to that enormous contract of like 60 plus million. But they're smarter than me.
Proof that a playoff run or a couple playoff games can get you a bag.
That, or who was the Raptor center that had like 3 good games and got like 70 million from Orlando? Oh man. Is it Bismack? Bismack Biyombo?
Oh, Biyombo.
Yeah.
Biyombo he had like 10
3 good go.
He had like 10 blocks or something like that in a playoff game
against the Cavs, and then Orlando's like, "Yep, that sounds about right. We'll take it for 70 million."
And then there's Boston. They're like, "Oh, Isaiah Thomas like literally like played out of his mind. Let's trade him. Let's get Kyrie. We need Kyrie." And then Terry Rozier plays good, and they're like, "Nah, let's let him leave." Which I mean, now looking at it, we're okay. But
Brock, I got your Boston Celtics trade since we're on the topic of trades. Trade Holiday to Memphis, or no, Marcus Smart's on Washington, right?
I don't want Marcus Smart back, so
bring him back. That. Bring the whole gang back. Get Robert Williams back.
I saw something that Dallas might be taking a stab at Drew Holiday this offseason.
Yeah.
So that must mean we're going to get old man Clay if he's still in contract.
Trade him for the first pick. Nico loves defense.
We could get the first pick. Hold up. Hold up.
Wait a minute. Hey, if he traded Luka for Anthony Davis,
Brian Scalabrine discovered Cooper Flag, and anyone that has watched Boston Celtics basketball at any point on League Pass, Brian Scalabrine at some point has a 15-minute conversation with himself as the color commentator, not the play-by-play guy, the color commentator, about how he discovered Cooper Flag and how he's going to be the greatest player of all time. So it only seems right for Boston to literally trade everybody except for Luke Cornett and his amazing closeout 3-point defense for Cooper Flag.
Oh my goodness.
Book it now. I'm not gonna lie. If Dallas somehow messes up this first overall pick thing, I will be the happiest person.
We'll see how committed Nico is to defense. Because if he's committed, Kaman Mawawak is the first pick. So we'll see.
Won't be Sanford, that's for sure. They don't play no defense over there.
All right. You're comparing a guy that's going to get drafted top 10 to a guy that's going to be flipping burgers in the next 3 months. Come on.
I was going to say, if you were about to drop that he's going to get drafted at all, I was going to start dying.
His one chance. I'm an Iowa fan. I'm a realistic Iowa fan. His one chance to get drafted in the second round was in the worst draft we've had in the last 10 years, which was last year, not this year.
I will say I will be interested to see how much the stock of what's his name from Drake that went over. Yeah, if a whole year playing good competition will hurt,
we'll see.
Or because at first he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and I think he is an NBA talent, but like it's one of those where it's like you play mid-major teams all year. Yeah, you played K-State and a couple of decent teams out of conference, but heading in the tournament, all the footage was on like mid-major teams. Once you get enough footage of someone on a Power 5 level schedule, they're going to figure out something. And again, I'm not saying that he's not going to he's going to be trash and he's not even going to make the NBA. He'll be a G League first round pick next year or whatever. If they even still do the G League draft. But
they do. Or no.
But no, he could very well be Big Ten Player of the Year or whatever. I think he's like going to be one of the favorites, obviously heading into that. But let's get back into the playoffs. So Oklahoma City moves
There
on.
still is a G League draft. I didn't know that. Landry Shamet, who's playing right now, was the second pick.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. In this past draft.
Speaking of Shamet,
yeah,
he got some minutes last night.
he did. He's getting cardio.
So Oklahoma City awaits the winner of this other series that will be going into their Game 5 tomorrow at 7 o'clock. The Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks. Indiana is up 3-1. Some amazing performances, not just by Tyrese Halliburton, but the entire Indiana Pacers team, really. And then the one win that New York had, it's New York doing exactly what New York has done all playoffs, and that's coming back from down 20. And so what are your guys' thoughts on how this, the series has been so far? And honestly, is Tibbs I really think Tibbs is the issue in New York. And granted, I don't think that their bench is that good, and we've mentioned that in previous episodes that their starting lineup might be one of the best starting lineups in the league in terms of just all around talent spread out. But you go to their bench and it's a quick drop off. I mean, Shamet was playing minutes. Obviously, he was kind of forced into that situation, but still, Shamet playing minutes in the Eastern Conference Finals is not something I had on my bingo card.
I think it's a combination of a couple things why the Knicks are down. They just can't close out games when they're leading. When they're trailing, they obviously can come back from any deficit and make it close to the end. But they just game one, not winning game one is the reason they're not going to go to the finals. We're going to look back, and the Knicks fans are going to look back and look at what a blown opportunity they had. Because no offense to Indiana, and I don't mean this as a slight to him, but this is probably going to be the easiest, the most wide open the Eastern Conference is going to be this year. I don't feel that crazy of saying that because Cleveland wasn't that good in the playoffs. Boston wasn't that good in the playoffs. I guess the Pacers, but they're going to be really kicking themselves for not at least making a finals run with this team. But I agree with Brock that I think Tibbs is the main issue. Doesn't trust his bench, and when he does, it's kind of goofy. I didn't like the fact that they started Mitchell Robinson. I think that was a panic move. Their lineup of of Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, Bridges, Towns is a good lineup. I think there's also some issues with the Towns and Brunson minutes when they play together. The plus minus stuff is kind of bad when they're both on the court. But
and Towns is starting to show the wear and tear of playing the playoffs right now.
Yeah,
you could see him grabbing his knee every play.
He couldn't guard really before. He wasn't a terrible defender, but now with him being constantly being double teamed and constantly going to the paint, he's wore out because we're probably in game 95 of the the playoffs regular season.
Yeah,
but yeah, I again, to sum up my point, I think Knicks fans and these players on the team are going to look back in a couple of years and realize what a missed opportunity they had when the Eastern Conference was. It's probably the weakest it's going to be. So
I will say, I think you can make the argument the Eastern Conference might be a little weaker next year in terms of expectations.
Right. It's just,
but it's such a joke. I agree. Because the West, I feel usually has a consistency. If you're good, you're going to be good for a couple years. You have a couple year window to compete for a championship.
Right.
The East is so weird, which you would think would be the opposite because the East is so honestly just mid. It's never been elite. So
the East always has the bad teams, but never end up winning the lottery. So they never get the crazy high prospects.
But when they do, they screw it up.
Right.
Except for I think Orlando did hit with Banchero. We'll see.
But the Wemby was the year after. That's a Western Conference player.
It's just that the ones that hit in the East don't hit as well as the West.
No offense to Richese or the Hawks player.
Richese?
Yeah, he's okay. And of course, this year when there's a no doubt slam dunk prospect going to a Western Conference team, and even the second pick is a Western Conference team. I don't know. The East is just a complete
Adam
joke.
Silver hates the East Coast. It's proven.
I guess, dude.
Hunter, what are your thoughts?
I hate basketball. I hate it so much. I think with the Knicks, like, I think it is a Tibbs issue. Like, in the past couple games, I understand that sometimes foul trouble exists. And I understand that sometimes players are not playing to the level you want them to. There is no reason that as an NBA coach on the brink of your season being over, and whether it's going to the finals or going home, that you bench your best players at the end of a game. That's just bad. That's actual malpractice. That is, like, you should not be coaching if you're going to be doing that. Like, genuinely, unless they are like hurt to the point that you're risking your future as a team, not just the game, but your future. There is no reason for that. And the fact that that's happened not once but twice is just uncalled for, in my opinion. Yeah, I would agree. I think the Mitchell Robinson move was bad. That's like the Bucks deciding, oh yeah, let's just keep playing Brook Lopez against this team that's really fast paced. Like, you're actually just asking to lose. And yeah, I think especially with the wear and tear, like, out of any team that they could be playing right now. And this is not me praising the Pacers, all right? You do not hear this and go, wow, Hunter's praising me. And yet, no, I'm not doing that, all right? This is a matter of looking at statistics. The fact that they're playing the fastest team in the league at this point in the season is actually so dangerous and devastating. Like, it's actually crazy how bad of a matchup that has to be for any team. The fact that they're reaching this point, that they're able to play at the level they're able to play at. You have players able to shoot way better than the entire rest of their careers at this point. It is literally just a recipe for disaster. Thankfully, in the finals, we'll get to see a team that can, one, match that athleticism. They're going to get a little bit of extra rest by at least a few days, hopefully by more than that.
Thought it was Knicks
and also,
7.
It is going to be Knicks in 7, but we'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
How does that happen?
And thankfully, they have a crazy defense. How we get there is everyone is going to go into a room on the New York Knicks, and they're going to start chucking threes until they start making them. That's what we're going to do. All right, we're going to shoot 60 threes a game, and we're going to make 40 of them. All right, and that's how we win. That is the only way we win, and it's going to happen 3 straight times.
Scored 120 points from 3 a game?
It's going to happen.
For 4 games? 4 games or 3 games?
3 games, yeah.
Got to do it. It's the only way. But golly, there's a will, there's a way.
Jesus.
That's how terrible and dire of a situation we're in right now.
Can we at least acknowledge the good feat that Tyrese Halliburton didn't have last night?
I watched Malachi Flynn drop 50 points. I'm not impressed. All right. Even lightning can strike a person sometimes. All right. It happens. These things do happen.
Okay. Last I think it was Saturday. Sarah showed me a video of like, have you guys heard this like Detroit Pistons conspiracy theory of like, when they have a Native American player play for them, that player dies like in a water related accident. All 3 of the players in NBA history, it's like this weird conspiracy theory video. All 3 have like involved water deaths. I'll send you guys the video. I didn't know about this, and she was like, "Oh, this is just like some YouTuber that I watched that like talks about like random things and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. It just gets you thinking." And I was like, "I've never heard of this," and it dates back all the way to like the Plummer era. Like I think 2 of them are from either the early Plummer era, or one was in the early era, and then the other one was a little bit after that. But Yeah. You mentioned seeing Malachi Flynn or whatever put up 50. It reminded me during that video, it mentioned because it was during that era of because one of the players I think actually played in this game of the Warriors game where Chamberlain hypothetically put up 100 points. And when we were watching that, the guy mentioned it, and I was like, "There's no video that proves that. There's nothing. Don't let the media tell you that Will Chamberlain put up 100 points." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it."
No, he didn't. He
He absolutely did
All
not. Folklore.
Shoot,
I used to see videos of the Wright brothers, but you're telling me I can't watch man put ball in basket a bunch of times? There's no way.
I gotta look up the video because I gotta give this guy credit. But no, it was just the fact that you mentioned Malachi Flynn. The fact that we have a Malachi Flynn reference here on the podcast is just hilarious. But where is it called? Oh, I think it's Wendy Gang, I think is the name of the account. I don't know if any of you have heard that, but it's like the Detroit Pistons Deadly Curse is what it's called. So it's just a interesting video that came out 3 weeks ago, and I didn't know about it, and she just started playing it because it had sports reference in it, and I was like, "Ooh, yay, that works." The other video that he's done a good breakdown on the Dawson. You'll like this. Who's that big Chiefs fan that was very popular?
Chiefsaholic, dude.
Yeah, he did a deep dive on Chiefsaholic.
He actually robbed a bank in Iowa.
Multiple apparently.
Yeah, in like West Des Moines.
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know. I knew about one. I didn't know that there was multiple in Iowa. So yeah, if you're looking for good like conspiracy, just random like put tinfoil hat kind of videos, I think it's pronounced Wendy Gang, WENDIGANG is the YouTube account. But sorry, no, I didn't mean to get off in this weird hypothetical conspiracy theory. Detroit Pistons players dying of water, based off a water raft injury, issues with a bridge or other things. Don't want to ruin the video for you if you don't know about this conspiracy theory. So, anyways, back to the actual content that we're talking at. Even if New York does, okay, let's say they end up losing tomorrow and Tibbs, like, there's no way Tibbs is back next year, right?
I don't even know at this point.
I don't know, just because I don't know who else they would hire.
Mike Malone?
Oh.
The thing with both Mike Malone and Taylor Jenkins, both, like with them being basically coaching options right now, is the reasons as to why they were fired are so weird and like up in the air. I don't know what teams are gonna like jump the gun. There should be, because they're both good coaches. But
who would you rather have?
I think I would rather have Taylor Jenkins.
That's fair.
But just based off of
it's
like
a preference, really.
Yeah. I think for me that's entirely based off of like the locker room stuff that was going on in Denver that kind of pushes me away.
I'd rather have Glenn Rivers coaching the Knicks.
I don't think anybody would want. Coaching the Knicks, I would much rather he coach the Knicks.
Yeah, I would love.
Or Glenn Rivers 2.0 in Darvingham
coaching the New York Knicks.
I wouldn't let that guy coach my kids' t-ball team at this point.
I don't think it will ever happen, because I think he came out to say like a year or two ago that he would not do this because of the Knicks' ties to this university. But is there any like way that you guys could see maybe Jay Wright throwing his name into the realm of coaching this team just because of the connections he does have with some of these players? Again, this is a like out of nowhere kind of question.
I get what you're saying.
And he retired because he retired from college basketball, not necessarily strictly because of NIL, but a lot of it had to do with paying players. In the NBA, you pay players because it's a professional league. So I don't know. I mean, I think if Dante DiVincenzo was still there, not that one player would make a big difference, but I think that's another Villanova guy that he wouldn't have to re-coach or introduce them into the his style or anything. But that was just a random name that popped into my mind that was like, oh, that could be kind of fun to see, maybe. But it also could ruin him and everybody that's a Nova player on that team's reputation if it fails.
I have a tough time with the college coaches that come like from college straight to the NBA.
Shout out Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino. As a Cavs fan, John Beeline. The 4
that is
months
still the weirdest one that ever happened,
dude. I sometimes just
how loyal of a Cavs fan am I? I watched the
John
Beeline era. It lasted 4 months,
dude. That guy was trotting out the goofiest lineups, and then Kevin Love that year was just quitting in the middle of the year. I'm like, all right, bud, all right. But no, I just have a tough time with the college coaches, just because like there's so many bad examples. There's the good ones every once in a while. Is it Billy Donovan?
I do think Billy Donovan
Thunder.
is a good guy.
With the Thunder, he was good. With the Bulls don't care about winning. The Bulls
I was going to say that's not his fault.
Yeah, the Bulls just want to be 40 and 42 every year.
What do the Bulls care about?
They haven't cared about winning since what? 2015? Since D-Rose hit that buzzer beater? I mean, I don't know.
Did they even care then? I just think that team was actually like just halfway decent.
Right. I don't know. If I had to put money on it, I would say Tibbs is the coach next year. Just because the options that New York would have, I think, are so bad. I mean, unless they want to hire Coach Bud.
Sam Cassell from Boston.
Yeah, I would have said Adelman before Malone got canned.
Mike Brown.
I actually think there are a decent amount that you could potentially get. God, why am I forgetting his name? Who's the Hawks coach, honestly?
McCollum? Or the Hawks coach. Is it Snyder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a decent coach. I don't know if he did a lot for some really, really bad teams.
Coach Spo.
So Eric Spoelstra?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Oh my God, that'd be my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Dawson, you say that Tibbs is back next year.
I would say so.
Hunter, what about you?
Yeah. I think he probably is because the Knicks will do Knicks things. I wouldn't be like if it came out like at the end of the finals that he gets fired, I wouldn't be shocked.
No.
I know I just said I hate the college coach jump, but what about the guy that was going to get the Lakers job last year? Danny Hurley.
Oh, God, no. I think we have learned after this past basketball season that the job that he has right now will be his last job.
Dude, let's get him and Klay Thompson on the same team. I think that'd be really funny.
Dude.
Just saying.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think for coaches though, I think the recent move, there's kind of two approaches to getting a new coach. You have like the Suns approach and teams that are really like nervous and really scared, where they're like, all right, we have to win, and they just bring in whatever coach recently, like they had the Frank Vogel experiment, they had the Mike Budenholzer experiment. They're probably going to be the team that has the Mike Malone experiment, if I'm being honest. Just bringing in like a dude that wins a championship, so we got to bring him here so he can replicate it, and then you fire him the next year, right? And then the other approach, which is the actual sensical approach, is people love assistant coaches. So I'd be interested to see. I'd have to look through like all the different assistant coaches now.
I think Sam Cassell is going to be
Sam Cassell's like, I feel like he's always in like recently, like when the Bucks were trying to figure out their coaching stuff. Sam Cassell is the guy that got brought up. Obviously, like Kenny Atkinson. Who's Chris Quinn? Is that the assistant for Miami? He'd be a guy.
There's a coach on the T-Wolves when Finch was out because he was hurt.
Yeah,
he was a good coach. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
yeah, I think that's where probably most people are going to start looking, at least. Otherwise, like, you know, you have like a bunch of people he used to, like old coach. You know, you got like Mike D'Antoni. You know, I don't think he would, but you know, somebody like Steve Nash, just because you know he's gonna have a different job soon. But
I think it's Micah Nori, if that
Yeah.
name sounds correct. But yeah, when he broke his hip or something because Durant ran into him, or whoever ran into him. But
Sam Cassell is Sam Cassell. I think Sam Cassell will not be on Boston next year. If teams are smart, or if he realizes that no team has a future, because I also think he had options last year and he went, nah, I'm good.
That's the thing though with these assistant coaches, like Hunter's saying, teams love to hire him, but some of these assistants are smart enough to realize, like, if I go to like Charlotte,
paid fine money. You're getting paid more than an average person.
If I go to Charlotte, I'm getting canned in 2 years anyway. Whereas I could stay with my current team and be just fine, make slightly less money, but contend and do something in the NBA. Me personally, I'm not an assistant coach, but I would just prefer that than getting fired from Washington in 2 years. But what do I know?
We're gonna have a episode where we dive into the issue of those teams, that the Charlottes, the Washingtons, the honestly the Portlands, the like just teams that like aren't. I feel like Portland's trying to win because Portland's Portland, but like there are some franchises that either just don't care or they just have that bad of luck, and we need to discuss how the NBA can fix that, because I think it's becoming a real big issue. Chicago's a big example of that.
We need to do just an episode of talking about Chicago and Sacramento. Just those two. Because those two are their peak play-in teams. And if you want to go to Sacramento, you could just go through their draft misses and their trade misses that they've had.
I was gonna say, so I think and we can get into it when we do that episode, because we're definitely gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
I think the difference between Chicago and Sacramento is Sacramento just really just has made some dumb decisions, and Chicago is just like, yeah, we don't care.
Have you guys seen the clip of, I think it's like the 2014 draft, where I think the Kings ended up taking like
Nick Stauskas.
And the owner.
Whoa, what a bucket getter though.
I did a hypothetical starting five with my brother, who is a Kings fan, and of what they could have had if, let's say, if they stayed in the relative same area in the draft, but still had the option of the players that were after them. I think at one point the starting lineup could have been like, I can't remember the point guard, but it was like Klay Thompson, Giannis, Boogie Cousins. I think Giannis got moved to power forward, and it was Klay Thompson, CJ McCollum, Giannis, and Boogie Cousins. I don't even know who the point guard was, but like, I know that sounds like a crazy lineup with Klay and CJ right there, but like now that CJ has played a lot of small forward or the three position, and so is Klay, it doesn't look as crazy, but it's just like, man, Sacramento. I think Sacramento's situation is literally they just have the worst luck of scouting talent.
I mean, they could have had Giannis,
and when they do, they trade them
too.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was Klay Thompson, Giannis, CJ McCollum, and Boogie was at least the starting four. I don't remember the point guard.
Dame was the point guard.
Dame Lillard was the point guard. So because it could have been Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, Giannis, Klay Thompson, and Boogie Cousins could have been the starting lineup with Tyreek Evans off the bench.
Glenn Rivers' son would have been a better selection than Thomas Robinson in that draft.
Hey, don't be hating on University of Kansas alum Thomas Robinson.
Yeah.
Dog.
I will be hating.
Got cooked by Royce White. Well, heck, here, one sec. I'll show you the epitome of how bad Sacramento's draft history has been. I'll be back here in a second, but you guys can keep talking if you want.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
This
episode has gone unhinged.
True.
I don't even know what else we could talk about. I really, Hunter's the same way as me. I'm not giving praise to the Pacers.
No,
Mickey
no.
Mouse Eastern Conference.
That's actually terrible. I can't believe we're 2 for 2 on this happening. Like this happened last year. And thankfully there was a team to stop it, but unfortunately it had to be that team to stop it. And now we're here.
It's unfortunate because I don't feel like, now tell me if I'm wrong, we haven't gotten a great NBA Finals. Gosh, since the Milwaukee one?
I would say
That's-
Boston won.
This-
Boston versus Golden State.
Oh,
Yeah, that one was okay.
Okay. No, like I think every game was like pretty much close except for 2.
Yeah, well, I don't like either of those teams in the finals, so.
So your reasoning is because you hate the teams.
Yeah.
Because like
I don't know.
you don't be sleeping on
My
legacy game
point-
Al Horford game 1.
No.
I've never seen that dude shoot like that before. Never saw him shoot like that ever again.
But hear me out. The last 3 finals, okay, assuming Hunter is going to crush your dreams, assuming the Pacers end up winning tomorrow night or tonight when this is posted.
Oh, by the way, here's the
2023?
epitome of Sacramento
Oh boy,
choking
yeah.
on draft picks. That's a PSA 10 rookie Tyrese
Tyrese, I
Halliburton.
know you got to sign a bunch of signatures, but buddy, we could put some more effort into that.
Oh,
What is
yeah.
that
He's
signature?
not good. By the way, I am just happy either way for the finals because I have this LA Clippers Shea Gilgeous-Alexander autograph. I don't even know what it's number to. 99, so it's not like elite, but it's on card and it's a sneaker shoe, I guess, whatever that means. So, hey, if anybody wants this for like $10,000, hit me up. Your boy's trying to get a house.
Probably trying to pay off a student loan with one card.
Hey, I got a couple back there that I could do that easily. I prefer not sharing those with the public.
Yeah, oh for sure. But my point, real quick, before we can move on to something else, like 2023 boring finals, the Nuggets Heat at snooze fest.
boring.
Last year, I mean, that was also a snooze fest.
It was a
And
snooze
then-
fest because
I think
the
this year's is
final
gonna be a
horn
snooze
went
fest.
off, and I was just like,
What do we do
"We
now?
did it!"
Yeah,
I'm not even trying to like imitate Jason Tatum. That was literally my mindset. It was just like, "Yay, we did it!" It took this freaking long to do it, but we finally did it.
honestly, revisionist history. If we could go back and switch the switch OKC to play Boston last year.
Sorry, I'm pulling a Knicks right now. I'm choking.
Yeah. But if we could have Boston versus OKC, and then we have what
That would have been
Indiana versus
elite.
Dallas as the other finals, like the alternate universe. Oh man. Oh boy. That
I
would have
think
been a lot
Indiana
more
would have been
entertaining.
too early for that, though. I think Dallas
I mean,
would
they
have
Well,
made
yeah,
the-
thank goodness we would see a Luka champion. That's what. That's
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
agree.
say.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just
That's what
saying that
people want.
that Thunder Celtics finals would be like that would be a game 7 finals.
I
Like,
would have died.
And
I would have died.
Luka never would have gone to the Lakers. He would have been in
Sorry.
Dallas right now.
Sorry.
Are we sure about that?
I think so.
Nico Harrison did
'Cause-
not like that man.
Because
He could
then
be
they
on the
actually
Clippers.
won the chip.
Oh,
Because then they actually
gross.
win the chip.
Gross. Oh my god, could you imagine in an alternate universe if they end up winning the chip last year and Nico's like, yeah, don't need him. I
That
really want Anthony Davis.
he like this isn't
Can you
isn't
imagine
me,
my
like,
mental health in an alternate universe where we lose to Dallas in the freaking finals with Kyrie?
tough man. I'll tell you.
Gross. Gross basketball.
You'll watch it and you'll like it, and then you'll.
Oh,
watch
I did.
And then
I enjoyed it.
and you will watch your team lose to LeBron in 2 years.
2 years. Bron's gonna be 43.
Exactly.
Dude,
He'd only be 12 years away from the 55 plus menu at Denny's, dude. He's getting old.
What's the video from you're saying in 2 years the Celtics are going to lose to the Lakers?
No,
in the
no.
finals?
I was saying so like last year.
Oh,
to
so
the
just next year.
Okay.
Okay, well, I could see that.
And watch the Celtics lose to LeBron in the finals. You've seen the video of Bill from King of the Hill. What are you doing up there? I'm just
What's
up
up,
there
dude?
to Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know the video, you know the video. So that would be me if LeBron would beat Boston in the finals.
And as
However,
LeBron's
I will
holding,
say nothing would be a more like it would be the most scripted type of ending of a rivalry ever than for LeBron to lose to Boston in the finals just because of the years of pain that he has put Boston through. It like again, it literally sounds like a storybook ending. That would have been like, Mahomes beating Brady in the in the Super Bowl, but Mahomes had no protection. So
he didn't.
so it'd be like Jason Tatum and whatever this Boston team looks like the year he comes back, because who knows who's gonna be
Dude,
on the
that's an
roster.
entirely different episode. We could just dive in on Boston's future.
I
Oh,
don't
boy.
know what they're gonna. I swear Brad Steve, which I mean I think Brad has done this forever. I think he gets on 2K and he just goes, "What can I do here?" He's like,
I'm telling
"Okay."
you, dude.
He's
Bring
like,
the
"Oh,
gang
okay,
back
Drew
together."
Holiday got traded here. What kind of star like rating does Robert Williams have? Oh my gosh, he's like a 3.5, 4 almost in 2K22, whatever it was, because of his just potential. I'm gonna just send him over to Portland for Drew Holiday." Calls up Portland. He's like, "Hey, I got an idea."
No, you're gonna get PJ Washington and a pick from Dallas, and you're gonna like it for Drew.
Oh no. And then when Klay Thompson and Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis are all injured and Cooper Flag has to come, and Kyrie, and Cooper Flag has to be the only guy in the play-in game playing for the Mavericks, I'll be like, "Okay, we'll see you in Boston next year when Nico trades you."
I'm sure Evan Fournier is like free these days. You can probably bring him back.
Oh
No,
my god, dude.
no.
When did he
Last thing
last
I need
play?
in
Was
my
that, like,
life
2
is
years
Evan
ago?
Fournier.
That
Don't
last
look
year?
up his name, by the way.
Oh no.
I heard there's like a thing. I never ended up
Yep.
doing it. I just know that some people like said don't look it up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take your word for it, because if NBA Twitter is telling you not to look it up, with how if you've been on
Crazy
NBA
they are.
Twitter recently, yeah.
Dude, you get him. If you want like another LeBron hater, I'm sure Mario Hezonja is free these days. You can see what he's up to.
Heck, let's just bring back all the
Lance.
bench players from
Bring
the Brad
Lance.
Stevens head coaching era. Let's just have Brad Wanamaker, Semi Ojeleye,
Yeah, you
Abdul
can have that
Nader. Shoot, what are some other
Rashawn
ones?
Yabusele.
Hell, let's bring back. Oh shoot, frick! Why
Not
can't
a-
I remember his name?
not bench, but Terry Rozier's value has never been lower. So you could get him back too.
Dude.
Shut up.
We could just go down the list of just old, like, mid 2010 Celtics role players, and they can just
Isaiah Thomas doesn't have it. He's still trying, dude.
Let's bring him back. Daniel Tice, welcome back to the team.
Oh boy,
Is Tice still playing?
I don't know. Don't care.
He was on the Pels, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you're right. Good pull.
Yeah, that guy is something.
Is Avery Bradley still available?
I'm sure he is. He's got to be free these days,
Avery Bradley last played in 2022.
Yeah, he's available then.
Yeah, you get him.
Now you got me like deep diving.
Bring back Jay Crowder too. Bring the whole gang back.
Hell no.
Dude, I actually was gonna bring up on my 2K, one of my 2K rebuilds, because that's the current state of Milwaukee.
Kenny
Russell Westbrook signed with the Celtics.
You just almost threw up right there.
You can have that guy on your team.
Ooh, now think of this lineup next year.
RJ Hunter.
Boston.
RJ Hunter, welcome back to the
gosh.
team.
Oh boy.
Think of this lineup next year.
Jonas
Boston does that.
Rebko.
got-
Jonas.
You got Bruss at the 1, Jaylen Brown at the 2, who can't dribble with his left hand. You got what? Not Xavier Tillman. Who's their other forward? They got hurt. Hauser at your 3.
Who are you talking? What are you talking about? Other forward? He is exactly what Gordon Hayward was supposed to be, and then Gordon Hayward went and injured himself. Freaking game 1
within 3 minutes of the game.
selfish prick just collecting that paycheck.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
Probably
completely
still
kidding,
is
by the
somewhere.
way. If people really
Oh
think I'm
my
being legit
gosh.
about this.
This guy.
Demetrius Jackson. Do you think he's still playing? Oh my God, Jordan
Yeah.
Mickey.
What happened to Jared
Jordan
Solinger, dude?
Jared Solinger, he is leading the Carmen's crew, I think it's what it's called, the TBT Ohio State basketball team, and they like win every year. So he's doing okay.
You guys have one other
Aaron
rando
Banks.
that is it like Amir Johnson? Didn't he? Play
Oh
for
yeah,
Boston?
Amir played for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh man, I love how this episode is. just turned into-
Yabusele. Give me
Gershon's
Yabusele.
good, dude. He was good for the Sixers last year.
Welcome to the 2025 NBA playoffs. This is
This is
This is
peak
where we're
content.
peak
I
basketball.
have now
guys.
mentioned a hypothetical conspiracy theory of Detroit players dying.
Wow.
Whether or not Wilt Chamberlain is 100-point game is legit, and random players that we can name from the Boston
Peak.
Celtics.
Peak basketball.
Oh my gosh,
What
I
happened to
forgot that
Leon
PJ
Poe, dude?
Doozer
Whatever
was on
happened
this.
to that
Yeah.
guy?
Leon Poe,
Yeah.
elite player for the 08 team. Him,
What
Eddie
hap-
House,
Ooh.
Petrus, or not Petrus. Oh shoot, what was his name? Because now all I can think of is Petrus.
You're
Shoot.
welcome.
Oh, what is his
You're
name?
welcome.
Bad offense in Iowa football has ruined my brain because now I can't remember his name.
Something you
James
never-
Posey.
Oh, that's the next year. Never mind.
James
I was about to
Posey
say-
was a good guy. Hey, assistant coach Sam Cassell was on that team, by the way.
Oh,
I don't know why I thought that Marbury was
Rookie
on
year.
that 07-08 team, but he was on
Rookie
the
year,
next year's
Tony
team.
Allen, Big Baby.
We did not talk about the Wolves at all in this podcast. The Wolves just did not need to get mentioned after that pathetic
Did
performance.
I just don't even know where they go because, like,
That's
it is basically just like, well, we kind of just have to run it back because your other option is
Just to
Julius
blow it up.
Randle ends up leaving, and then all of a sudden you're out of 2, basically.
Dude,
That's
they need a point guard. Whether that means bringing Dillingham to the starting lineup or what.
So what did you say?
Conley-
When did you say the final start?
The 5th.
The 5th? Okay. We will do a maybe we'll do a double recording Monday or
was gonna
Tuesday
say,
next week.
I want to do this Kings episode. I just want to take a deep
Well,
dive
we'll
of
do that. We'll do
Sacramento's history.
we'll do that during the off season. We'll
Okay,
do that
okay.
one for the off season.
Shoot.
Maybe we'll do a double recording. One of them may be like 30 minutes, and it'll be like what's next for the two teams that lost in the conference finals. So
Yeah.
Minnesota and whoever. Obviously Hunter hopes it's Indiana, but
It is.
whoever it may be. And then the other episode we will release either the day before or the day of the game one, and we'll do like a full breakdown of how these teams got here, key players, key matchups we're looking forward to, and then who we think is going to win, how many games, and who we have winning finals MVP. Or let me rephrase that. How many games it's going to take for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to win finals MVP.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Any other things that you guys wanted to mention before we sign off? No wise words, Hunter?
No.
Okay.
Just, America's done for. Like this is it.
Well,
This is it.
for Hunter Rose and Dawson Livingston, I'm Brock Bierman. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to help support our channel. We appreciate it. We do this for fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy our content that we're able to put out. I think there may be another Sports Nerds episode coming out this week. If not, make sure to tune into the one last week.
No way.
What?
Another episode this week?
We'll
Hype.
see. We'll see.
Hype. Hype.
We'll see. I mean, hey, last week on the Sports Nerds, I proposed this idea of Tom Brady playing in the Olympics, and then the next day, all I see is articles about Tom Brady potentially playing in the Olympics. So, if Tom Brady wins gold, I deserve a gold medal. I should be considered an Olympian for putting
Brock
that.
is the Jerry Krause of of
Is it because I'm fat?
dude, stop. No.
Hunter's like, no, I regret saying that.
Dude, stop. No.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. But yeah, make sure to listen to the Sports Nerds podcast. They might have another one coming out this week. I think Dawson and Braden are going to do an episode together. But until then, we appreciate all the support. We'll see you guys next time, and we'll have a finals matchup to talk about for sure, whether it's Oklahoma City and New York or Oklahoma City and Indiana. I think it's going to be one that we're going to enjoy talking about, because either it's going to be Hunter and Dawson talking about how much they love that Oklahoma City is going to destroy, or what a comeback from New York, which if that happens, I may not show up. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next week.